I started working in restaurants when I was 15. It's literally the only thing I've ever wanted to do. Always very artistic, and I was into music. It was like a great way for me to really express myself artistically. I wouldn't have gotten as far if it wasn't for people letting me into their doors and just picking up a knife. We want to be remembered for the food that we cook and those beautiful dishes, but creating a safe place for people to work and feel inspired and kind of almost be like an incubator space. It's the thing that I've set out to do my entire life. DC has so many different cultures and so many different things going on. There's such a really tight-knit chef and restaurant culture. It's all about having these constant conversations with everybody. That's where the ideas keep flowing in. We use Sous Vide at our restaurant because it ensures just a consistent and perfect cook every single time. It's yielded a result that's better than anything I can do in a pan. We have really high standards for the food that we put out, and with Sous Vide, it really enables us to accomplish that.
Hi, I'm Johnny Spero. I'm the chef and owner of Reverie restaurant in Georgetown. We're going to be cooking a dish today we do at the restaurant of Veal Sweetbreads. Let's get started. So our first step is we're going to blanch the sweetbreads. It helps firm it up so we can pull off that sinew and helps it just cook through. So once your water's up, there's a little bit of vinegar in there. Just take the sweetbread, very quickly put it in, count to 5 seconds, and then we're going to pull it right out and put it into the fridge. So we're just gonna pop it in the fridge just for a couple of minutes. We want it to cool off. That way we can pull off that sinew and then put it into the bag. So next, we're gonna get our circulator set up to the proper temperature to 176. So now that our water bath is at temp, we're gonna cook our sweetbreads for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we're gonna take the sweetbreads out of the water bath and then let them cool at room temperature before we start cooking them. So now that it's cool, we're gonna take it out of the bag, remove all the excess liquid, and just pat it dry so it's ready to cook. We're gonna cook our sweetbreads in a non-stick pan. Make sure your pan is really hot. We're gonna drop the sweetbread in. Let it cook for a little bit, and then we're gonna drop it down to a medium high. Just wanna get a nice crust to start. So we've gotten a good amount of color. We're gonna just flip it over to finish the cooking. And we'll do the same thing on this side. We'll let it go for about 4 or 5 minutes until we get a nice color on there too. So the next step is we're going to start glazing our sweetbreads. So at the restaurant we have a stock that we make with all of our leftover duck and chicken bones, but you can use anything at the store, whether it's a beef broth or whatever it may be. Then we're going to add our butter once we add our stock. And we're going to keep letting it kind of reduce. It's going to get really kind of sticky and tacky. You want to coat the bottom and the top. This is going to help the cooking process too, and also just add like a really nice texture to the outside. We're going to flip it back over just for a moment, just to make sure that the other side gets a nice coating of stock as well. And you can see the stock the bubbles are getting big, it's starting to reduce and get really sticky. That's exactly what we want. That's why using a non-stick is important as well. So we're gonna cut the heat on our pan. That glaze is exactly where we want it to be. So let's take this. I'm just gonna put it right on the cutting board and just let it cool down for a moment. Let it rest before we start breaking into it. Make sure your stock doesn't burn because you want to use this to kind of finish it off. So now we're gonna start plating. This is definitely more than enough for one portion, so we'll go about half. We'll do it in a couple slices to make it easier to eat. You can see that really sticky glaze is formed a really nice layer on the outside of that. So we're gonna put this right in the center of the plate. Next, we're gonna dress our greens. So we have some wild watercress, sorrel, and miner's lettuce. Made a quick little dressing out of some nasturtium syrup, grapeseed oil, and Carolina gold rice vinegar. Just a light little coating, a little bit of acidity to cut through all this really, really rich chicken glaze. The sorrel itself has like a really nice lemony kind of flavor, so it's really, really bright. And then we have some of these baby cucumbers. Just add a little bit of texture and crispness. And if it wasn't already rich enough, we're gonna add a little bit of caviar just straight onto the top. And then some of the sauce that was in our pan, while it's still warm, just put a little bit on top just to bring it back up to temperature. Finish with just a little bit of salt. You don't need much because of that caviar. And that's it.
I'm Johnny Spero, and I Sous Vide.